Hey guys, welcome back to a new episode of The Life of a Makeup Artist. Today, oh my god, it is the second to last episode of 2019 and I am so excited about everything that has happened this year so far. In this episode, we're going to do a bit of a recap. We have a top 9 of 2019. We're going to do 3 favorite products, my 3 favorite moments of my career, and my 3 biggest lessons learned. Now let's start with the top 3 products because that's the easiest. So the first product is something that you guys would have definitely heard me talk about before. And if you follow me on social media, you would have heard me talk about it. This is the Lush Lip Service Lip Balm. It is one of my favorite products. It has gotten me through winter, spring, summer. I mean, I'm obsessed with it. And I think I've mentioned it before on the podcast, but I'm not entirely sure, but it is bomb. Lush is a company that is all natural, it's vegan, and I like this because I feel like, I know that I love Laneige and there's a lot of other lip balms that I love, but I like Lush because if I feel like it heals my lips. When you look at the ingredients, cocoa butter, shea butter, like we want all the butters, you know what I mean? Because you guys know, if you haven't seen me, I have a lot going on, down there, so I need to take care of what I have. So Lush Lip Service is it, and I love when you guys send me pictures and was like, I got it, and I told my friends to get it too, because I believe in it that much. And I wish it was sponsored, but it is not. I wish. Hi Lush. And then the next one is the Mizani Anti-Humidity Spray. Now I mentioned this in the Seat at the Table episode with Fatima, Alana, and Mimi. And I love this because I have natural hair. I'm always in a protective style, but I do get my blowouts occasionally. And let me tell you something. There are times that I have walked out of the salon, literally crossed the street, and my hair starts to turn back curly. It is the most frustrating thing you could ever imagine. And when I got this spray, I was like, all right. I was waiting, maybe it'll last a few days, a few weeks. But I had to be on camera, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get my hair blown out, and we'll see how long this lasts. So I actually didn't even overuse it. At first, I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this spray. So I used the Mizani anti-humidity spray, and then I used the lived-in spray hairspray after. But I believe it's more of the anti-humidity one because I didn't use the lived-in all the time, although I do love that too. And I was a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I mean, it came to the point where I was like, I'm tired of my hair being straight, which is something that I have never really experienced. My hair would never really hold a blowout. So now it is my go-to. I have a few of them now because I am just I cannot be without this product at all. Now, the next one would have to be the Wanda Beauty Nude Illusion Foundation. This is one of my favorite products of the year. I love how this looks on my skin. Oh my gosh. Now, I have a ton of foundations in my foundation wardrobe. I have quite a few, and I like a lot of them. I actually really love a lot of them. But I would say that Wanda Beauty's foundation is a product that I actually finished this year. I think maybe twice, or I'm on my second bottle, but it's almost done. But not only do I like the actual foundation, the formula, I love how it looks on my skin. I love the packaging. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. If you're not familiar with Wanda Beauty, maybe you might have seen Clinique has these foundations with these big wands, and I just love that because I just put it all over. I can rub it around with my fingers or quickly with a brush. It just makes application a little bit easier, and I really like that. And then I would always say, for me, I'm in the most I mean it in the most humble and genuine way. I am not interested in your brand or your products if you don't have a shade for me, because then I can't try it. You know what I mean? There are some products Like, Stila has these bronzers. I've had it for a really long time, so I don't know if they have like some new ones, but they had these two bronzers I really, really liked. And it wasn't like for my shade, but I know that they have other products that would match me. But like, if your brand itself is not like checking for me, I'm not checking for you either. So I would say that Wonder Beauty has stepped their game up, especially when it comes to shade range. They have expanded. I would like to see a little bit more, maybe, you know, one in like the light to medium in between there, and then maybe just one darker. But I have a little bit of remorse when a brand is, you know, smaller, growing. But the larger brands that just keep messing it up, we know we don't love to see it. But yeah, so Wanda Beauty Nude Illusion, I love it, and I would definitely like repurchase it again. So now let's move on to the top 3 moments in my career. So I had a lot of firsts this year. So I got my first cover this year. It was with the cover of Elle magazine. It was Elle Serbia with model Madison Ryan. And oh my God, it was such a fun shoot. It was, to me, an iconic image that I would, you know, look back on and be like, wow, like I got to be part of this moment. And it's always amazing working with Madison. She is a beaut. And, you know, I love that besides, you know, the cover, you know, we get to play around and do some looks, and I really enjoy working with her. Also, I had my first Met Gala. This was in May, and I worked with Sinead Burke, and she is just an iconic and an inspiring individual. All the work that she's doing is so moving, and I am just like, I get to work with these people. Oh my God. And then the next person, which was a first for me, I worked with my first political figure / game changer, Stacey Abrams. And can we briefly just talk about this article that I just read? Stacey created a spreadsheet to plan her life goals like back in college, and I was just like, okay, this is so me. And more than like 25 years later, she's using this spreadsheet that she created, and she's on track. And what she was saying is like, you don't have to be like exactly on track with it, but what she was doing is that she planned her life, and I love that. We love our organized queen. And by the way, the artist planner, which is my planning tool, will be undated in 2020, but more to come on that. And then the next one, so my top 3 moments, yes. So my first, and then let's do my second will definitely have to be my education classes. Now, these were the first classes that I ever held in NYC, and one of the classes was with NARS in Soho, and that one was focused on more of like everyday glam with a splash of color, and then we elevated it into an editorial look. And if you guys don't know, if you haven't seen my work, I love beauty. Beauty is my thing, and a lot of people wanted to see like a photo shoot look happen live. And it was super fun because I gave 2 inspiration photos of nature to choose from. Like, we did a poll on IG stories, and everybody was like trying to vote which look I was going to do. And it was so funny because right until like the class started, the look that was like a purpley pink sunset is the look that won. And then after the class, the other look won. So it was super funny because people were going back and forth trying to make their favorite look win. That was really, really fun. Dom, Addicted to Dom, if you guys follow her on Instagram, she's an amazing model and friend of mine. She was the model, and oh my God, she is just perfection. If you guys have not seen that, you can go to my IGTV. There is a video there. It's called The Winning Look, I believe. And it's on my Instagram at Jaleesa Jaikaran. And then my next class was at Wanda Beauty, and this one was more about perfecting your own makeup and giving tips and tricks for like the everyday person to execute and elevate their own makeup. And it was amazing because the life of a makeup artist kind of had our first event. We had a panel with some amazing women in the industry doing their thing, and they were Julia Kamita, who's a photographer and a friend of mine, Anike Rabiu, hairstylist, and Gracie J, who's a manicurist. And we all discussed our journey in the industry, and the audience had the opportunity to connect with them and ask questions. And it was really important for me to do something like this because when I first moved to New York, these types of events really helped me to, like, one, put myself out there, and two, also just helped me to connect with people that eventually became part of my tribe, or just like a notable or just fun, part of my journey here in New York. My third top moment in my career, I would definitely have to say the time that I spent in Paris. And I think this is both seasons. Yes, I did both seasons. So this means February and September. And, I look back and I think of like my first time when I first moved to New York, the first place that I went to was Paris. I always wanted to go to Paris. It was on my vision board. I was like, we are going there, me and my two cousins. And, they were like, yes, I want to do Paris Fashion Week. Oh my gosh. And then, catapult a few years later, sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes you can get jaded. You can be like, oh, whatever. Like, you kind of stop being as grateful, as excited as you were. But sometimes you really have to stop and be like, this is exactly what you wanted. So, I, did shows that I always wanted to do. Always, working with these amazing models, meeting people. But I think that I enjoyed it, and it was not just a top moment for me because of like the shows I did or the people that I got to work with. They were all gorgeous. I did like, some red carpet events, and all of that was amazing. But I think I had like the best time with my friends. Like one season I stayed with 3 makeup artists, Tiffany, Patan, Marishton, Johnny Paluzzi, and we just had such a good time. We were just like a little family. And I think that, for a makeup artist, honestly, the times that you spend like in your Airbnb with like a group of people, those are like the memorable times, because you come home and you guys talk about the shows, and then we talk about other shit, and like you just feel like you have somebody that you can like really relate to you. And we just had like a really good time. Like, it was so funny. We like all were like watching shows, falling asleep, eating snacks, going for pizza. It was just like an incredible time. And like, honestly, while we will all remember like the moments, like the career moments, we'll also like those moments are the moments that we remember. And then the second time I was hanging out with some friends of mine, Roderick, Timothy, Bolente. Like, we just had such a good time. We ended up at the club with Haas and like some friends, and I just had such a fun time. Like, you go there and you are like, I come to work, I come to do my thing. But like, sometimes when you're tired, you want to stop and just have some fun. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, you have one life. You know what I mean? Just live it. You'll be all right, girl. Just be cool, So I definitely think that Paris for me these years, because it's like when I first went to Paris, just so you guys can get some context, when you first go, you're not really getting a lot of shows. You might go and you might be like, you just want to put yourself in that position. And it's kind of like the path of every artist. You're like, oh, I'll just start going and I'll get one show, I'll get 2 shows, and then eventually, I have 10 shows. You know what I mean? But eventually then you might start working with clients, and you might start doing like, you might be somebody's personal makeup artist. So it's just like an evolution, and like, I'm not gonna let time or the industry or life kind of like take me away from being grateful for the things that I've been offered, the opportunities that I've been given, the teams that I get to work on. I'm just like, woo, she's grateful. All right, so that is it for my top 3 career. Let's move on now to my biggest life lessons of 2019, because child, this was my first year in my 30s, and we definitely have some things to talk about. Okay, so my first one would have to be, don't wait. Now, I know sometimes it may feel like you're not ready to do something, or you feel like you should wait for some contrary thing to be in place before you can make a move. And sometimes it's just really in your mind. The life of a makeup artist for me was an idea that I had for years. It's been 84 years. And I was just like, girl, you gotta just do this. You know what I mean? And it hasn't been perfect. It hasn't been perfect, but it's here, it's done, and people are like, I really appreciate it. You guys are like, I really resonate with some of the episodes, and like, you love it. And I was just like, you know what if I was still sitting on this? So whatever idea, whatever thing that you want to do, whatever video that you want to record, or whatever dance class you want, whatever it is, just do it. Don't wait. And I have to take my own advice, because trust me, I'm always dancing. I'm trying to like take a dance class. I've been saying it for a while, and I'm just like, I haven't taken this dance class yet, but I'll probably talk about it on my stories at some point, because I'm definitely going to take it in 2020. I'm gonna let you guys hold me to that. And the next one, this one is kind of like, for me, because I'm actually kind of going through it right now. So this is, it's okay to not want the things you used to want. Whew. So this one is big for me, because it's very difficult when you've want something for so long and then you don't want it anymore. Because to me, it's kind of like you already have like an emotional connection to it. It's like a baby, you know what I mean? And you're like, I used to want this thing, and now you don't want it, but it's so confusing because you let go, or like, it's just like, do I still want it just to say that I did it, or I had it, or I got it, or whatever it is? And I'm at a point where, a stage in my career where I'm still learning and growing, but there are certain things that I don't want anymore. And I'm fine with not having those things, because I have a clearer picture of the goals that I have. And it's not necessarily because of like the industry or this or that. It's just like, okay, you have to really sit down something and be like, what do you want? Because sometimes, you have a lot of people in your ear, like, you should do this, you should do this. But sometimes you really have to just be like, what do I want? Have a me moment, take yourself out, have a moment and say, girl, what do you want? You know what I mean? You know that meme with, is it Ryan Reynolds? Is that his name? He's like, what do you want? Like, what do you want? And honestly, have that conversation and, get some clarity. So for me, I think that 2020 is going to have more of those moments, because you sometimes want to say yes to a lot of things. But if those yeses don't align with your end goal or what you want, then why do it? You know what I mean? Just why? And then the last one is, you are stronger than you think. Now, so if you've been a listener of the podcast, or if you haven't listened to this episode, it is episode 4, and it's okay to be human. And in this episode, I spoke about dealing with some family matters that I had a death in my family while I was on the job. The funeral was happening in Trinidad and I was in Grenada, and it was like a very tricky situation. And I say that you're stronger than you think, because I have so many friends going through things, whether it's like relationships, family, health, and all these things show up in our lives while we're trying to be 100% on set, while we, sometimes have to act like everything's perfect, because, you're on set. You have to make sure that you're catering to the talent, and you're like a therapist, like you're listening to everybody's stuff, and you are not going to come on set and be like, oh my God, I'm this, and that. And like, maybe you have like a few people that you can vent to, but like, that's really not the energy that we come with on set or on any type of job. You know what I mean? Whether you're doing bridal, celebrity, whatever you're doing, you're like I said, you're like the therapist. You know what I mean? You bring calm and peace. So what happens to you when your world is in shambles, and you have to still show up, and you have to still execute and be at your best? It's difficult, you know what I mean? But you're stronger than you think. You definitely can get through it, whether you have to like, talk to a friend, go to therapy. It's just like, you don't need to, I'm just in a place where I'm knowing that you don't need to put on a facade like everything's all right. And not that I do that, but I think that I'm becoming more comfortable with just like being more open. I'm a very positive person. I'm all about like good vibes, and but I'm just like, every day I'm not like that. You know what I mean? Every day, sometimes I'm just like, I don't want to do this. I'm tired. Like, I have my moments, and I think that it's okay to have your moments and to acknowledge it and not to beat yourself up. And I, would feel guilty if I don't do this, so I don't get this done. And, I try to be very like, high performance, and it's just like sometimes you need a break. You have to deal with life stuff, or you just need to take some time out, and I think that's okay. You know what I mean? It develops you. It helps you to grow, to just sometimes step away, help you to give you that clarity, because at the end of the day, whatever you're doing, even if you're not a makeup artist, you're listening to this podcast, whatever whatever part of the world you're in, whatever you do as a job, the job will probably continue if you're not there. So it's really important to take some time and to take care of you and make sure that you're good. You're not always going to have it together. You're not always going to be perfect. You're going to make mistakes. You maybe might piss some people off, and it's okay. It is quite all right. Like I said, I feel like, I don't know if it's because I am getting older, but I think that you always just have to choose you over everything else. If whatever is best for you, without feeling guilty, knowing how to say no. And that is it. I think we're closing off the year with a bang. We have Essence Gant of BuzzFeed, who will be wrapping up all things beauty, hair, and skincare in 2019, and a look at what's to come for 2020. She has a lot of knowledge to pass on to us, and I'm very excited. In 2020, we're definitely going to have more in going on in our Facebook group and on our Instagram and website. So definitely, go to our Instagram and join through there. The link is in our bio. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who has slid into our DMs and said, this really helped me. I've had, even at the episode that I mentioned previously, It's Okay to Be Human, I've had people tell me like, wow, I was dealing with this situation at the time too. And, this really helped me. And I'm so glad you discussed this topic. So I really appreciate you guys. I went to the makeup show holiday party it was like a few days ago, and a lot of you were like, oh, I followed the page and I love the podcast, and that means the world to me, because like I said, I sat on this for so long. So just to get that feedback from my peers, it means the world. So if you guys have any questions, any suggestions of who you want to hear from, if there are any topics you want to cover, I am so open to feedback. You'll always have me or one of the interns on the social media page, or if you want to just pop us an email. If you are brand and you want to work with us, we are always down. I am just so excited and happy that we are here, and we are going to be even better in 2020, and I am so grateful. And I will see you guys, you'll hear me in the next episode. Thanks, guys.